Hi, how you do? I prefer when I do my recordings outside, but I miss the morning and then the afternoon. It's been raining, so I think I'd better just stay inside and try and connect with you this way. I hope you're giving thanks. In everything, give thanks. Well, so many things have happened here in Jamaica. So whether you're here in Jamaica or you're part of the diaspora or you're someone who admires Jamaica, you may have been following what's been happening. We had general elections on the 3rd of September, and then we've been swearing in Prime Minister and the ministers of government, ministers of state and senators. I wanted to take time to thank those persons who offer themselves as politicians, yes, on both sides of the fence. Because, you know, there are many people who say, boy, I don't like politics, I can't deal with politics, let politics alone. But if there are no politicians, then there is no country in terms of your running of a country. They are the ones who run the country. And I think we should just pause rather than cuss them day and night and say thanks for having offered yourself to become a member of parliament. Now, for those who are senators, we want to say thanks to them for having accepted the invitation to be a senator. If you take both these roles very seriously, you know, then we hope to have a better run country. And there's a lot of reading and preparation and listening and focusing and concentration that you must do if you're going to be a good politician, a good member of parliament, a good member of the Senate. And at this juncture, I'd like to pause to congratulate the younger persons who are now both as members of parliament and who have been selected as members of the Senate. It's a new sphere for you, new learning opportunities. There are experienced people around you, so talk with them. Let them guide you, but remember it's going to be a lot of work and we are expecting a lot from you. I want to know, just acknowledge the Prime Minister. I had the privilege of listening to 4 speeches, both his speech at his own swearing in, the speeches for the first 4 ministers, the second batch of ministers and senators, and then the last batch. And I want to say the Prime Minister hit all the right notes, the right tone, said the right things. And I'm hoping that those of us who listened, or if we didn't listen, we can go find it on YouTube or GIS or somewhere and listen to what the Prime Minister had to say. Because as citizens, we have a responsibility. So the Prime Minister has laid out very carefully what he's going to be expecting of the people who he has in his cabinet, he has as members of parliament, senators, etc. And yes, he has said the right things, but we have to make sure that he holds himself to the standards that he has set. And I don't mean cussing and quarreling, because he's human. He has a deck and he's playing that deck. He sometimes might not meet the mark where we want him to meet it. And so we have to tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, remember that speech you gave? We need to bring you back to it. We need to make sure, because at the time you gave it, you came across as sincere, and we want to make sure that you remain that way. And he made it very clear to the people he's chosen as ministers and senators and ministers of state what he expects of them. Now, wherever we are in the world, if we are Jamaicans, we have to play our part. We can't just sit down and say, why let them go on here? Or some politics stay. No. We get what we are willing to put up with as citizens of any country, and in this case as citizens of Jamaica. And we have so much to be grateful for. You're listening to what is happening in places like Belarus, and then you look at what is happening in Jamaica, and we have an enviable democracy. Our electoral record has been just superior. Many countries, we go to them to guide them, show them, or they want to find out what we're doing with our electoral process. Yes, there was a time, a long time ago, when things were not where they ought to be, but they have been in the right place. And we need to stop bad-mouthing Jamaica, particularly both home and abroad. There are people, especially on social media. Some people are not as informed as they need to be, and they make statements, and they really don't have a basis for those statements. I'm going to ask you to stop and think before you put your hand on those buttons on your phone or on your laptop or whatever it is. Stop and ask yourself if what I'm going to put down will help my country or help the person I'm about to be so unkind to. Stop and ask yourself, if this were me, Here I am offering myself for my country. How would I want to be treated? Yes, I'm not saying that you're going to allow people to get away with stuff, but you know, just need to be a little kinder. We need to just think about people with a little bit more depth and understanding. And we need to ask ourselves, if this was my relative or if this was me, how would I want to be treated? So I'm saying we are at the cusp of something new. That's what I believe. There's COVID-19, and that's another story, because we are now into community spread. That means we can't say that John gave it to Delia and Delia gave it to Roy. It is now community spread. Lots of people are still not being as careful as they ought to be with the physical distancing, with the washing their hands properly, with wearing the mask. So I'm going to beg people, we're at a point globally, it's a challenging time, but let us just pinpoint Jamaica and see how we can play our part to make this country a better place, that we can manage COVID-19. Yes, it's going to take a while. I've been telling people from the very beginning, it's not a 6 weeks or 6 months, it's going to take time. And not only here, but if we could make sure that we play our part in holding back the spread, and if we could make sure that we play our part in advancing our country in terms of its democracy, in terms of how the people who offer themselves to serve, we encourage them, and we tap them on the shoulder when they have gone off track, and we say to the Prime Minister, go back to that speech you made. Go back to that speech. It was a good one. It had good pointers. You came across as sincere. Your tone was right. We're here as a country behind you. I don't care who is Prime Minister of my country. When you're Prime Minister, and respect is due. How about all of us just behaving along those lines? This is Jamaica, land we love. Go back and look at the words of your anthem and your pledge. Some of you don't even know, so the anthem of 2 verses. Go and learn them. Learn your pledge and think about Jamaica and what you can do to make it a better place. Sound like a sermon? No. This is Faye Ellington, my sermon for today. Okay then.